Game week 29 is here and I currently have 5 flagged players. It's not looking good. Let's discuss. But before we get started, you guys should know the drill by now. Make sure you guys leave a like on this video because this video, I was waiting just for more information, just for more, let's say, time to think about what I'm going to do. And I'm still very, very confused. I can either roll, I can make one transfer, or I could take a hit and make 2 transfers, which we will all discuss. But anyway, let's start with the keeper situation this week, and it is not looking good. I have Dubravka against Everton away, and I have Verbruggen against Arsenal at home. Listen, both of them are probably going to concede. I'm going to lean towards Dubravka. If we're looking at clean sheet odds, by the way, the exact same chance, which actually kind of surprised me. But I'm going to go with the Burnley man, Dubravka. The defense, there are a couple dilemmas. Let's start with the people that I'm happy about, which are the Arsenal boys, obviously. Gabriel against Brighton away, he's going to play. Timber, I know some people might question, is he going to play? Could Ben White come in? But Ben White weren't even in the squad last game. I'm pretty certain that Timber's going to play. Of course, there's the odd chance that Mascara can play right back. We saw when Timber came off with that yellow card a couple weeks ago. Mascara played there and he done very, very well, to be fair. But I think it will be Timber at right back. And also, I have a bit more confidence because it's the FA Cup on the weekend. I think, listen, even if Timber... let's just say if it was the other way around, like Timber would have been rested on the weekend, he would have played. I think he'll play this week, he'll be rested on the weekend, and then obviously play the Champions League in between the game week 30 fixtures. That's another dilemma that we'll talk about anyway. But for this week, I'm happy owning Jurriën Timber. Munoz is also who I'm leaning towards. Now, this is a very, very difficult situation between Munoz, Roldan, and Joachim Andersen right now. I think Munoz, I'm the most locked in. First of all, we know he's fit, which is a big, big positive, especially for this week. I feel like with Tottenham as well, we have to start regarding them as a bad team and as a good fixture from an FPL point of view. Like, Tottenham are actually shambolic. Like, even though they are a big club, the league position doesn't lie. They deserve to be there. They're struggling big time right now. And to be honest, Crystal Palace don't look the best. But could Munoz get an attacking contribution in this sort of game? 100%. So I'm going to go with Munoz. And even with Lacroix out, listen, Crystal Palace still have 3 fit centre-backs. They should be all right from a defensive point of view. They're not going to get battered. I trust them enough, let's say. The 4th defender is where it gets very, very interesting. Now, of course, both of them are currently injury doubts. Joe Rodon, the comments that Daniel Farke made yesterday in the press conference were a lot more positive. I think he will be back and I think he will start. Joachim Andersen obviously was an illness, and that's where it becomes a bit tricky, especially with a quick turnover. Do I expect Joachim Andersen to play? If you ask me right now, I think the answer to the question is yes. Do I expect Joe Rodon to play? I think the answer to that question is also yes. If we're looking at clean sheet odds, Leeds have a 38% chance of keeping a clean sheet. That is very, very nice. Fulham, 29% chance. And to be honest, I kind of do agree with that. I think Sunderland are a weaker attack. I think West Ham are looking a lot better going forward. I'm going to back Joe Rodon. I know a lot of people might not agree with that, but listen, to be honest, Joachim Andersen might auto-sub into my team anyway, considering the amount of flags I have. But for now, I'm happy with that back line. I'm not going to make any changes or transfers in my back line. That's how he's going to stay. Let's discuss the midfield. Now the midfield, and let's go from right to left, starting with James Garner against Burnley at home. Very, very happy owning him for this fixture. Like I said, Burnley's the fixture to target in the Premier League right now, and from an FPL point of view, even though Burnley have given a lot of good games. But at home, this might not be the sort of game that James Garner can get death on, let's be honest. But James Garner has been taking over nicely in terms of his expected goal involvement numbers are very, very good. So could James Garner, again, like he did on the weekend, get an assist, get a goal? I'm actually kind of hopeful. Like, his expected goal involvement numbers have been a lot better than, let's say, the attacking contribution numbers, like the actual numbers that he has, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go with James Garner. Bruno Fernandes against Newcastle away. I know a lot of people are going to captain him, especially if Erling Haaland is out. I'm not that bullish on Bruno Fernandes against Newcastle away. I know I saw the reports today that Newcastle apparently have an illness in the camp. I know. But at the same time, going to St. James's Park is never an easy fixture. Under the lights, we know how tough the atmosphere can be for away sides. And if you're looking at it, Manchester United's intensity levels over the last, let's say, 3 games under Michael Carrick, especially in the first half, haven't been the best. We know no matter what, the atmosphere is going to be very, very good at St. James's Park. Could Newcastle get at Manchester United, especially for the, let's say, first 60 minutes and Manchester United potentially struggle? I think the answer to that question is yes. But at the same time, Bruno Fernandes has that security. He can produce a moment of magic. We know he's a volume player. He's going to get shots off. He's going to create chances. He's on penalties. I do see the appeal. But if Haaland is out, Bruno Fernandes would not be my captain. Dango Tara against Bournemouth away. Another one where, listen, he came off obviously around the 72nd minute, I think, on the weekend. So did Sharda, to be fair. I expect him to start. I know some people say maybe Lewis Potter can come in. I don't think that's going to be the case. Dango Tara against Bournemouth away. To be honest, Bournemouth at home are a lot better defensively. Like, I know the away data is shocking, but at home, they're not too bad. So let's see how this game goes. It just seems like there's going to be goals in this game. Brentford versus Bournemouth. But let's see. Semenyo against Nottingham Forest at home. And listen, let's just discuss the entire attack within itself. If Erling Haaland is out, Semenyo will be my captain against Nottingham Forest at home. I know, listen, a lot of, let's say, content creators don't like it because obviously Semenyo is not on penalties or guaranteed to be on penalties, which might be the case. But Semenyo is clearly playing very, very well from an FPL point of view. He's clearly scoring goals. And if City, let's say, if Erling Haaland's out, stick with that two-striker formation, they have no one else to play. It will be Marmoush, it will be Semenyo. And Semenyo's minutes are looking very good. He also works very, very hard defensively, which I think Pep really rates and understands. And listen, I know people are saying Semenyo's overperforming his expected goal involvement numbers, but there's a reason for that, because he's a very, very good finisher. Even the game against Leeds, I don't think he done much in the game, but he had that chance. He produced that goal, 8-0 with a brilliant ball in. I will be captaining Semenyo if Erling Haaland is out. Regarding Erling Haaland, I know a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, am I going to sell? Am I not? For me, the answer to that question is no matter what we get from Pep Guardiola, unless Pep comes out and says it's going to be, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, Haaland will be staying in my team. Now, let me explain. The reason why Haaland will be staying in my team is, first of all, game week 30, when I'm looking at it, who is their best captaincy option? Now, game week 30 comes in between the Champions League fixtures, which makes it a lot more difficult. But for me, the best captaincy option that week is Erling Haaland against West Ham. Salah, or let's say Liverpool, have Tottenham that week as well. That could be a goal scoring game. But again, game week 30 is very, very hard to call because it's in between, let's say, the Champions League games. But for now, even if Erling Haaland is out, he will still stay in my team, or let's say be on my bench at least, because I'm not favouring anyone for captaincy for game week 30, if that makes sense. Thiago against Bournemouth away, like I said before, let's see how this game goes. Brentford, Bournemouth should on paper have goals, but we know that's never the case. Now, if you guys can see my bench as well, Joachim Anderson, obviously an injured out. Rice, an injured out. Even Nilsson, an injured out. If you're looking at my team, Joe Rodon still flagged. Haaland still flagged. So what is going to be my transfer plan? Currently, I know Declan Rice, no matter what, is going to be leaving my team before game week 31 anyway, because obviously Arsenal blank. There are a couple moves that I was thinking of. The easiest one is obviously Harry Wilson. But Harry Wilson is another injury that if Marco Silva comes out today in the press conferences and says Harry Wilson is fit, Harry Wilson will be in my team. Evan Nilsson will come out. Ekatike will come into my team. The reason why Ekatike will come into my team is I think the comments around Evan Nilsson yesterday weren't the best. I think obviously he said there's a chance that he might trade Monday night. I'm not too hopeful. I'm not too hopeful that Evan Nilsson starts this game. He might be on the bench, but at the same time, listen, even for game week 31, is there a chance that Evan Nilsson could be benched for that game? 100%. We just saw him benched against Sunderland on the weekend. So he's a potential, let's say, minute out anyway for game week 31, which is why I don't mind taking this -4 of Declan Rice out for Harry Wilson in, and then obviously Evan Nilsson out for Ekatike. But let's just say, hypothetical situation, Harry Wilson is ruled out. What is my plan? I still think I want to bring in Ekatike. The reason is, I just want that. I want a couple bench players that I know just in case with all these injured outs can come in for my side, which is why I'm willing to take a -4 this week. So it'll be Evan Nilsson out for Ekatike. Then that leaves me with 6.2 million to take out Declan Rice, I think it is. There's a couple options. One of them being Iliman Ndiaye, who obviously has Burnley at home. The problem is next week he has Arsenal, which is obviously not a great fixture. But when I was looking at my team, if obviously everyone's fit, I can play a 4-3-3 next week, and James Garner and Ndiaye could be on my bench, and then play them in game week 31 when they have Chelsea at home, I believe it is. Or I can move to a Bournemouth bid, which is obviously probably everyone's favourite scenario, I'm going to guess, if obviously Harry Wilson is out, in terms of Ryan or Tavernier. I feel like if Tavernier was fully fit throughout this period, it would be a no-brainer to go down that route. Especially we know he's going to be on penalties. We know he has set pieces, so many different routes to points. But the problem is he's obviously still come back from injury. He got 70-odd minutes on the weekend. How confident am I in that he starts again against Brentford, which is today, Tuesday, and then gets 70-plus minutes again? Or let's say 8, or let's just say 70-plus minutes. I'm not too hopeful. But then the question becomes, that Tavernier spot could obviously be Ryan, who obviously plays in 31. We know we're starting week in, week out right now for Bournemouth. I'm a bit more hopeful and more likely to go down that route, if that makes sense. That would obviously then leave me with a benching dilemma. Harry Wilson, or let's say Ryan in, Ekatike in. I would probably just bench Joe Rodon, let's be honest. And then I would probably bench Dango Tara, just so I have one Brentford, one Bournemouth, just a bit of coverage and a bit of variance from both sides, if that makes sense, innit? Spreading my odds, or spreading eggs in more than one basket kind of thing, innit? Because I just don't feel confident in our predicting that result. Because I think even if we're looking at odds for the Bournemouth Brentford game, it is very, very tight. Bournemouth predicted 1.62 goals, Brentford 1.52 goals. Like, it is a very, very difficult game to call. But I feel like I've spoke about every single scenario. Haaland, no matter what, unless he's out for 2 or more weeks, he'll be staying in my team. The most likely thing I do, Evanilson out, Ekatike in, who will probably be a guarantee this week for me. Declan Rice out for a midfielder, take a -4, and just see how it goes. Like I said, I know I can roll this team, but I don't want to take the risk of having no playing plays, especially considering the fact it's a midweek game as well. You never know. There could be the odd chance that Dango Tara gets benched. You never know with FPL sometimes. And obviously, I expect James Garner to play. But David Moyes' comments yesterday was so weird in terms of, he said they're not more injury doubts, but he never said who they were. So let's just say that, hopefully not, but let's just say James Garner's out. What am I going to do then? I'm a bit screwed, which is why this week I'm willing to take the -4, and a -4 will be taken. But anyway, that's how my team is looking at for Game Week 29. Let me know what you guys think of my different, let's say, scenarios. We have to wait for press conferences, though, which will be the biggest indicator today. I think Pep Guardiola's press conference is around 12:30. Marco Silva, 1:30. I think Arteta might be 1:30 as well. Those are the key ones that you want to listen to. Let's see what happens. Anyway, make sure you guys like the video, comment your thoughts on my team, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back on the other side of Game Week 29.